This lesson is going to be looking at solving absolute value inequalities. Absolute value inequalities are solved very similarly to absolute value equations. Absolute value inequalities, in order to solve them, you have to take what is inside the absolute value symbols and write them as two separate absolute values. So I have the absolute value of x minus 3. So my two inequalities are going to be x minus 3 and x minus 3. One of them you write just as it appears. So it says the absolute value of x minus 3 is less than 2. So the first inequality that you have is going to be x minus 3 is less than 2. However, remember when we solve an inequality, if you divide by a negative or multiply by a negative, you have to switch the symbol. So in order for this to be the negative 3 version, you have to have a symbol switch as well. So instead of x minus 3 is being less than 2, x minus 3 has to be greater than the negative 2, because we would have divided by a negative to get the 2 on the other side to be negative. So now I can solve these inequalities just like I normally would. So to solve both of them, to isolate the x, I would need to add 3 to both sides. Minus 3 plus 3 cancel each other out because that equals 0. I'm left with x, and then I have my inequality symbol, less than, and then 2 plus 3 is 5. On this side, I add the 3 again. Minus 3 plus 3 cancel each other out. I'm left with x. I have my inequality symbol greater than, and negative 2 plus 3 is 1. So if I'm going to graph this, right, I have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, etc. My first inequality is x is less than 5. So my circle is going to be over the 5. It's going to be open because there is not the or equal to part, and my arrow is going to be drawn to the left. I'm going to hold on and putting an arrow on there a minute because I see the other inequality, which is x is greater than 1. I have my circle at 1. Again, it's open because it is greater than, not greater than or equal to, and because it's greater than, my arrow is going to go to the right. So my solution is this line segment that is between 1 and 5.